Good afternoon, everybody. It is afternoon, right? It's noon? It's right?
Correct.
Yes,
it is
great.
Afternoon.
That is tremendous news. Happy lunch hour to those of you hopefully watching over lunch. Happy Thursday. Happy 20 Strong is fulfilling to lots of people. It's me, Gilly, Josh Welgus here, just hanging out for a little Q&A action here on your Thursday, on your early Thursday afternoon, depending on your time zone. Yeah, this is just a Q&A. We're just going to hang out, and I have actually a massive list of questions that were submitted ahead of this Q&A. If you're watching in the chat, feel free to throw. I think we're posting the link where you can formally submit questions. We're trying to watch the chat for questions, etc. I'm just here to hang out, give you some basic CTG updates, talk a little bit about some of the stuff we've got coming on Black Friday, and then just answer questions. So there you go. That's what we're doing here, and we can just jump right in. No need to dilly-dally, as they say.
One last thing before you start. The form with which to enter the giveaway, there's a giveaway for Solar Sentinels base 20 strong. That form is still live. It will be live for the next few moments. I'll probably close it in about 5 minutes. So if you haven't filled it out, fill it out if you want to be considered. You don't have to leave a question.
Yeah.
Just fill out the form.
Yeah, we're trying to get back to giving away free stuff. We did that a lot in the early days of CTG TV, and for whatever reason, we just kind of haven't been doing that as much. So we're giving away a copy of, excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold, so if I start coughing, I'm okay, I promise. But we're giving away a free copy of 20 Strong with Solar Sentinels, the base game, so to speak, to one lucky entrant watching and participating in the stream. So go ahead and fill that out if you have not already. And you might say, Gilly, obviously I backed 20 Strong. I don't need another copy of it. Give it to somebody for Christmas. Sell it on eBay. I don't care what you do with it. We're giving it away to somebody, and be happy about that. So, and you can expect more giveaways of more stuff starting to roll out on a lot of these live streams leading up to the holidays. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to open, before I jump into a lot of the user submitted questions and customer submitted questions, I'm just going to take a brief moment to kind of talk a little bit about what you can expect coming from CTG on Black Friday. And the normal way that we operate is that the holidays is a time where we make kind of all of our previously released and new promo content available during the window between Black Friday and New Year's Day. So we are doing that again this year. And so I've got actually a whole pile of promo stuff in front of me. The new stuff for this year, there is no new 2023 promo pack. And we've kind of decided that in the future, we're most likely going to lean away from a sort of all-inclusive promo pack, simply because we have so many different games out there now that it feels a little bit weird to be asking people to go and purchase this like all-inclusive promo pack when less and less of our customers own literally everything that CTG makes. So in the future, you can kind of expect us to lean more into game-specific promos, smaller little promos for each individual game, that kind of thing. So this year, coming back, we do have the complete set of coffee chips. So those released back on April 1st of this year. They were meant to release during the holidays last year. They came out on April 1st of this year instead because they were delayed in production, along with like all of the delays that we've been dealing with this last year. These will be available again during the holidays, along with previous April Fool's promos, such as Trollin' for Fools, such as The Gearlock Child, such as Aprilis and the Fool for Hoplo Victorum. This is also available in the Hoplo Pledge Manager right now, so this is a little bit less exclusive in terms of a web store promotion, but just know that those will all be available, all of our previous April Fool's stuff. I mentioned the coffee chips. We've got the Burn Cycle crossover equipment pack for $5. We've got the 20 Strong promo cards, which if you did not back the campaign and you're purchasing 20 Strong off the website, these Tanglewoods crossover promos coming from Manny Tremblay will be available for $5 on Black Friday. We've got the Too Many Bones crossover loot pack, which was a free follow gift with Too Many Bones Unbreakable. These will be available on Black Friday through the holidays. So all of our promo stuff, all of the previous year promo packs, all that kind of thing, those will all be available. So look forward to that. The big new releases from Chip Theory, though, coming on Black Friday really are the Too Many Bones Brass Mags, which we have here, and our kids games, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about, not a ton today. We are planning next week's live stream. We are going to show off a bunch of actual gameplay of our kids games that are coming out. Again, I will note the kids games, we only have the license to sell them in the United States. So for anybody who's watching in Europe, Canada, etc., apologies. We only have the license to sell these in the United States at this time. So there you go. But we do have the Too Many Bones Brass Mags, and we've shown these off a little bit, but this is a final production copy. And just a reminder that you get all of this goodness in here. And we had these out on the table at Essen, and the response was just absolutely insane. I think Burn Cycle being not quite as widespread of success, not selling quite as many copies as obviously Too Many Bones being our primary breadwinner as a company. I think a lot of people have not actually been able to see the brass mags that we did for Burn Cycle super up close. And so the whole concept of just the magnet and the chip and just how magical it all is, and these sculpts just look super great. It's a little bit hard to capture how cool these are in photographs, but these are coming out on Black Friday. So the MSRP on Too Many Bones Brass Mags, I believe we've talked about this in the past already, but the MSRP on these is going to be $99.95 moving forward forever. However, for their initial release on our web store during this coming holiday season, they will be discounted to $89.95 for the holidays only. So look forward to the Brass Mags. They are coming. We will be adding them to the Elder Scrolls Pledge Manager, but not until the new year, and we will be adding them at their full $99.95 MSRP. So if you want them at the discount, the holidays is the best time to grab them. Though obviously, yeah, you have to pay shipping on those, and there's free shipping in the Elder Scrolls Pledge Manager. I know a bunch of you are doing math in your head right now, and that's totally fine. We have no preference on where you buy them. We just hope that you think they're really, really cool and that you do indeed go ahead and purchase them. So Too Many Bones Brass Mags, Gearlock Brass Mags coming. I'm going to real quick show off the kids games. I'm going to center this right here. But I'm going to do this. So this is the 4-pack of the kids games that we are releasing, and if you buy them in a 4-pack, you get this right here, which is some crossover content from our actual big Chip Theory hobby games. And again, we'll be showing more of this stuff off next week with dedicated gameplay on stream. But there's 4 games that come in these tins. We've got Tangram Adventure. We've got Sudoku Forest. We've got Pixel Party. And we've got Neighborhood Hide and Seek. So these are all, and then again, we've got this sort of crossover promo. All of these are solo games for kids. They come in these nice little tins. You can buy them individually for $20 a piece, or you can buy the complete 4-pack, which comes with the promotional content at a modest discount. So these are solo games for kids, amazing activities for kids. They travel super well. They come in these metal tins, and there are magnets inside. The magnets stick to the tin, which is super slick. And then the other thing that we are doing with these is we're really trying to lean into the education side of kids games, really. So every single one of these, though they may have a recommended age that falls within a very specific window, they range between ages 4 and 10 is kind of the recommended age depending on the game. We have lesson plans that are going to be posted on our upcoming Chip Theory Kids website that span a huge age range. So If you are into homeschooling, if you just like to do more educational game schooling, that kind of thing at your house, even if your kids are in public school, etc., we're offering an absolute ton of amazing free downloadable resources to get more out of these games than just making them an interesting solo activity for your child. So the plan is that this will be the first wave of kids games, and likely next year we will release another wave that will be more in the PvP space for kids games as well, depending on how these are received and how they sell. So we're trying them out. These are all games that have been released elsewhere. So Gameland, our manufacturer for Too Many Bones, and Cloudspire, they have a separate imprint called Yowfish in China that releases tons of kids games. And so these are 4 that we thought were really, really excellent, that we thought were doing some really interesting things and had some really cool components. And so we have chosen to license them and release them in the United States. I believe 2 of these 4 were designed by Rainer Knizia, who is one of the most prolific board game designers out there, et cetera, et cetera. So we're getting ready to kind of blow the lid off of showing these kids games off and marketing them more. Again, limited to the United States, but you can expect to see a lot more of that in the coming weeks. We're actively trying to get that website off the ground in the next very short amount of time. So there you go. That's a little bit about kids games, but next week on our live stream, you can expect to see some much more in-depth looks at how these work and how they actually play. I don't know if Santoro's going to be playing them on camera. I don't know if we're going to bring in some actual live kids. We may bring in my kids. I don't even know. We're going to make that plan after we get through this stream, and we'll see you next week for more on the kids game. So I'm going to
figure it out eventually.
What'd you say?
We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually. We promise. So I'm going to get these back in their little slip case. And yes, you do have to buy the 4-pack to get this cool slip case, which is great. Independent Play Collection. Look forward to that. All right. I'm going to jump into your questions. So we have an absolute ton of previously submitted questions that I'm going to try to dig into. The first is, how are you today? I'm feeling good. I feel like we are finally out of the sort of fulfillment and manufacturing quagmire that we've been living in for what feels like about 18 months. Give you a little bit of an update on 20 Strong Fulfillment. All English copies of the game have shipped to backers, every single one. We just got this morning the huge document that has all of the tracking information from Unixpress. We need to send that to you manually, and there's a very good chance that you're going to have the game before we're even able to get that tracking email out to everybody, given that we just got that spreadsheet this morning, and we need to filter out a whole bunch of information from it before we can make good use of it. So anyway, just know if you've backed the English copy of 20 Strong, it has shipped. It has shipped to you. That's worldwide. That's everyone. That's everywhere if it's the English copy. The German copy is being manufactured right now, and it is very, very, very close to being finished. Our estimate is that it'll probably be going to you in here within the week, is kind of what we are being told. Frosted Games made 1 or 2 rules clarifications actually to their files between Essen, between those very early copies that were made and the larger mass manufacturing print run. So that delayed things by just a couple of days. They wanted to make just a couple of rules clarifications on a couple of the cards, I believe, or maybe it was in the rule book. I can't remember. But the point is, those are coming, and then French should be right on the heels of that. So I'm feeling good. We're getting Cog Books out to people. We're getting logbook replacements out to people. Burn Cycle New Recruits is largely finished fulfilling. 20 Strong is largely about 80% now done fulfilling because we just have German and French left. Too Many Bones Unbreakable is done fulfilling. I cannot tell you how relieved I am to be kind of back down to only really truly managing and monitoring 2 projects, which is Hoplo, Pandora's Box, and the Elder Scrolls. So I'm doing good. I'm feeling good.
Real quick add on to your 20 Strong statements. Do we know what shipping carrier is being used in the U.S. for 20 Strong? So I know it's Unixpress.
Yeah, it varies. That's a great question. It varies. So basically the way that Un does it is they drop ship everything to like a local hub, and then depending on Depending on the region and depending on the community or area you live in, the last mile delivery may be handled by a handful of carriers between USPS. There's one called GLS, I believe, that a lot of folks are seeing. I know a lot of folks are seeing like DHL. It just kind of depends on the area. They've got a different partner in a lot of different areas of the country and of other countries as well. So it's not a consistent thing that we can say like, oh, it's always USPS or it's always this or it's always FedEx or whatever. It varies a little bit. So yeah, anyway, that's if we've seemed evasive on that answer, it's simply because there is no real consistent answer across the board for everyone. So yeah, good question.
Is that the case for like all regions?
I believe that is the case for all regions. Yeah. So, and I owe 20. I want to put out an actual GameFound update today, stating that all U.S. copies have shipped, and I'll aim to clarify that in that update for folks. I'll talk with our logistics team and get the proper. I'll get hip to the vernacular and give you the proper and safe verbiage on that in the official update. But yes, it's on its way. I want to address the smell, the infamous smell of 20 Strong. So essentially, what that is it's the dice, or it's the any plastic component in there. Some folks have noted that the chip tracker, magnetic chip tracker, seems to have a strong smell as well. It's not every copy, but because of the way that we really push them to get on their horse and get the game manufactured as fast as humanly possible, especially after the PVC card delay. Basically, it would appear that just some of the dice were not left out as long as normal to like air out and off gas, I believe is the technical term for it. So do not be alarmed if it smells 20 strong when you open it. Just let it air out. Let the dice air out for a day or two. Some folks have said that washing them actually in the water has helped a lot. It will dissipate. We promise. It's not dangerous, but we do apologize to those of you who are very sensitive to strong smells. You may get a strong hit of something when you open up that box initially. And we just recommend leaving it open for a day or two in your garage or outside or whatever. Smell should go away. It's not of any danger. All dice smell like that when they first come off the press. They're just normally allowed to air out for a little while before they're actually packaged into a box. So there you go. And I also just want to say, my goodness, the gameplay response from everyone I've seen who's actually had a chance to take the game for a test run has been so positive. I honestly can't remember the last thing we put out where the feedback on the gameplay has been so universally like, man, I really love this. I really, really love this. This hits all the right notes, and we're just really, really encouraged by that and really excited for the future of 20 Strong. So thank you, backers. Sorry it took so long to get you your game, but hope that it's worth the wait now that it's actually getting to a lot of your tables. And please enjoy and continue adventuring. We're really excited and proud of this product. So there you go. Okay. It's a really long answer to how am I today. That's how I am. That's how I am. I'm that good. Okay. We got some Black Friday questions here. I know you have said Black Friday sales will be bundle discounts and a chance of getting a custom build-a-bundle option. Our current online e-commerce software doesn't really allow for that. And we generally, when we do bundles, we're pretty intentional about putting products in those bundles that we know we have ample stock of in all of the various places. So build-a-bundle is a little bit more challenging to do in that respect. Sometimes we try to include things in bundles that maybe aren't selling quite as well on an individual level, that sort of thing. So no build-a-bundles for this year. We may be shifting e-commerce software here in the next 12 months potentially, and at that point maybe we will have some more flexibility in that regard. I am not sure. Will the Cog Book be available for Black Friday? No. No, it will not. And the remaining copies that we have of the Cog Book likely will not be released in a traditional way or made available for sale in a traditional way. It was such a nightmare getting those things over here that frankly we're going to hold very tightly to the ones that we have left over because they're kind of special and we don't really want to reprint this in the same way. So So apologies for those who maybe missed it or who are hoping to buy it in the future because they didn't grab it on the campaign. I would say I'll never say never to anything, but there's a very low probability we ever reprint these books again, just because this go around was just the worst and it cost us a lot of money, and we're just not anxious to go through that again. So there you go. Will Cloudspire Minis be available? If they are out of stock in certain regions right now, I don't know that we are getting any fresh stock of those for Black Friday. Again, we're kind of getting down to the fumes on a lot of our Cloudspire stock, and we are actively having discussions around how to handle that in terms of the future of that franchise. I'm going to continue to dodge questions on that presently, aside from there continues to be stuff in motion in the background, and we are continuing to not necessarily make any promises one way or the other, but we're still looking at it. So can we get an early preview shop link for the TNB Mags to be able to add to wish lists and such? Likely not, but maybe. We're looking at releasing the actual Black Friday ad, like the webpage for it, here in the next week or two ahead of Black Friday, hopefully. We're working on that right now. That won't necessarily have a link to the actual product, but it will have more information and the price and all that kind of thing. I can tell you we are printing a ton of these. The print run of TNB Brass Mags is in the like 10,000 copy realm, which should be plenty. We're going to have about 2,000 of them in various regions total, between all the regions, that will actually be here already on Black Friday, ready to ship. And if we sell through that full run of 2,000 that we have on hand, we'll just be shifting them to pre-order status. And they should be delivering pretty early in January, I think, because they're actively being manufactured right now. We just got the first 20% of them shipped early so that we would have some for Black Friday. Are there any plans to release the Trove chest storage upgrades? Yes, those should be available for Black Friday. The Trove chest update packs, it's the Tyrant and Gearlock Deluxe storage pack is the official name of that product. Those will be available on Black Friday, so yes. All right, will Riffle's deck be available as a standalone product? Possibly. There are actually, one of the more complicated things about that is that, especially in Europe, selling playing cards is actually really, really challenging as a separate product because there are like gambling rules and that kind of thing. So we did print, we do have some of the decks just separately, not including the Jokers. So that's the other thing, is that they don't include Jokers, which is a little weird, selling decks of playing cards. People generally expect to receive a Joker. So we're looking at that. No promises to that end, but we do have some that we may put on sale eventually. There's a very small question underneath that one. Oh no, that's just, it's dead. Okay, got it. Would you ever consider creating or partnering with a tabletop RPG system for Too Many Bones or one of your other settings? We would consider it. I would say nobody here in our office is I shouldn't say nobody. Tabletop RPGs, though, are not a huge thing that anybody at the top of chip theory is like hyper passionate about. So it's also, and that's not necessarily a reason not to do it, but we are I would say and I would say the rest of the leadership team, we are relatively like naive about what that even looks like in terms of the amount of work and scope and all that kind of thing. So it's not something that we have taken a really serious look at doing, but I know it continues to be something that gets asked for a lot. So we would never say never to that. There's nothing in the plans right now, but there you go. Heard a lot of good comments about you. Wow. Thanks. I'm not an expert player. I think they're referring to chip theory and not me specifically, but I'm going to co-opt this as a compliment from me specifically. Not an expert player, but what is or will the game that will show like all the quality, passion, spirit of chip theory games? I mean, I don't even know how to answer this question. So the best entry point I would say for anyone getting into chip theory stuff now at this point would be 20 Strong. It's super easy to get to the table. It shows, I think it shows a lot of our production ethos. It shows a lot of our, the depth that we're trying to get at and replayability and that sort of thing, which we're really big on here. So, but obviously our flagship product is Too Many Bones. So I would say 20 Strong or Too Many Bones are probably the best starting point for anyone looking to get into chip theory right now. I think Elder Scrolls will likely be our signature crowning jewel in terms of like production and just amount of stuff and kind of like holy crap reaction when people open it once that comes out. But that is also still a year away from release right now, so that's not a great answer for right now. So there you go. I'd say 20 Strong or Too Many Bones, the flagship or the easiest thing to get to the table that also demonstrates a lot of kind of our game design ethos. There you go. If the TNB Gearlog Minis sell well, will you make a set for the Tyrants as well? We were just talking about this yesterday. Maybe. We were kind of laughing though, because there's also like, especially if you're playing the vanilla Too Many Bones, and for example, you take Gilly into battle against Nom, you know, that's kind of been made a notorious way that you can sort of one-shot Nom, right, with Piercing Arrow and that kind of thing. So we were laughing and saying like it'd be kind of funny to buy this pack of Brass Mags, stick Nom out there on your Tyrant chip, hit him once, game over. Was that really an effective use of your money or minis? Probably not. I don't know. We're talking about it. We do expect that these are going to sell well and that people are really going to like them. So I can guarantee we're never going to do them for individual baddies because there's just too many. And that would become just an absolute nightmare of management and logistics and that kind of thing. So, and it would also be something like 300 sculpts, I think, at this point, which is just obviously not feasible. So, but maybe for Tyrants. We've talked about it. It seems obvious to me that you get the ideas of your games from video games. Am I right? Yeah, you are right. I mean, not all of our ideas, right? But like lots of our inspiration has come from video games, has come from games that we've played in the past, games that we're playing presently, etc. But not everything. Like the inspiration for 20 Strong was not a video game, as an example. The inspiration for Too Many Bones, a lot of that was drawn from video games. Yes, Hoplo, yes, from video games. Burn Cycle, not quite as much. So Cloudspire, also maybe not quite as much, though it has obviously some like tower defense and MOBA inspiration. I think the way that the actual game and the scenarios came out actually strays pretty far from a lot of those video games. So I don't know. Good question. What has been the most challenging part of the last year, and what are you looking most forward to in the upcoming year? That's a great question, actually. The most frustrating thing for me has just been and it kind of started with the chip mishap with Victorum. It just kind of caused this massive cascading effect of like delays and frustrations and that kind of thing across the board, where we had all of these campaigns that were sort of, you know, when we do our financial planning for the year, when we do our release roadmap, that kind of thing, you know, we're planning out 2 years at a time often. And we had all these projects that were supposed to be done and supposed to be fulfilled to backers. The Cog Book is another example. And they all ended up kind of just like hanging out there for an extra long time for one reason or another. Some of it production errors, some of it, again, with Unbreakable, it was the delay on the Cog Book and that kind of thing, and the German translation, Spanish translation, that kind of thing of Too Many Bones. So between that and the Elder Scrolls blowing up beyond our expectations and that kind of thing, like we just ended up in this really challenging quagmire where we didn't quite have the horsepower to like keep our arms around all the things that were happening. And I couldn't keep up with comments and updates and that kind of thing for a little bit just because we had too many things overlapping. So that was frustrating. I feel like we're out of it. And I'm really excited about this next year, which is great. What am I looking forward to most this upcoming year? I'm looking forward to not having 7 projects overlapping. I'm looking forward to Elder Scrolls releasing because we're really excited and proud of that project. The response to 20 Strong, again, has been so positive that I'm really looking forward to getting our Tanglewood stuff out. And really, there's other stuff brewing in the background for 20 Strong as well that we're just really excited. I think it has potential to be our next like really, really big franchise, along with Too Many Bones, along with Elder Scrolls and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't. There's just a lot of stuff coming out in the next year that I'm really pumped for. But I'm also just excited that the amount of like campaign overhead will be also drastically reduced. The Pandora's Box content for Victorum is very, very well in hand. Elder Scrolls is content complete, so we're just playtesting the heck out of that right now and starting to apply a lot of polish and trim to that. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. All right, with the Elder Scrolls going the route of very big, long, multi-session, moderately complex, and 20 Strong going the route of very small, pretty quick, fairly straightforward, which way do you see future games from CTG going? More streamlined or more epic in scope? We will never stop making things that are epic in scope. What we are trying to do is diversify our catalog, though, so that we have kind of something for everybody. We've done a very, very good job for years of kind of catering to our core audience and really cultivating that core audience. And we are not in any way, shape, or form looking to abandon that ethos. We are so appreciative of our fan base and of the things that they so obviously love and keep coming back for. We're going to keep making those types of things, and that will never change. Roth, 20 Strong, and some of the other things that we're looking at, we are looking to diversify our portfolio so that we have things at multiple price points so that we are not inherently keeping a certain subset of board gamers like out of the CTG community simply by virtue of price tag and complexity. So I don't think it's a matter of us going one direction or the other. I think it's a matter of us trying to really just have something for everybody within our catalog to a certain extent. And so obviously 20 Strong being a solo experience, a solo-only experience, not everybody's into that either. So, we may look at trying to bring a smaller cooperative game to market or a smaller PvP game to market even. Roth is aiming to fill the void that we have kind of in the $60 MSRP, $50 to $60 MSRP price range in our catalog. We don't have anything really that's a standalone product in that range. So that's kind of the goal of Roth. And then also it was an intentional decision to bring in an outside design from outside of this building from Manny Tremblay, so that our internal dev team could really continue to focus on making sure Elder Scrolls gets all the way to the finish line in the best way possible. So, we just want to have products at every price point that appeal to a wider audience, as opposed to continuing to only throw huge $150 plus games at people. Because also our core audience, we know, like, we potentially may fatigue their ability to keep up with these huge boxes as well. So we're going to keep going in both of those directions, not one or the other. Are you ready to announce your next project? Is it more content from one of your already created worlds or new worlds altogether? I mean, our next projects are 20 Strong Tanglewoods and Roth. We are planning on doing another campaign most likely next year, but what exactly that is has not been decided yet. We have a couple different ways that we could go with that, and no, we are not ready to announce that yet because we haven't even decided on that yet, formally speaking. So there you go. Why are you such a cool company? How do you do it? Thank you for that question. That's very nice. We didn't plant these questions, by the way. How do you do it? Frank, Frank, so we say this all the time to people. We are interested in making stuff that we think is cool. That's really our entire business model. We happen to like nicer, overproduced, like fancy things. That's kind of what makes our hearts sing, is opening really, really cool stuff, right? So that's been our operating philosophy from day one, is we just make stuff that we're really, really passionate about. Usually that translates to good things to the people that buy our products. Not always. Not everything we've ever put out has been a hit, but we just make stuff that we think is cool. And generally speaking, if we think it's cool, we think you're going to think it's cool. And usually that translates. So that's why we're such a cool company, because we make stuff that we're passionate about, and we try not to ever do anything that we would consider like a mindless cash grab. It's actually why we held off on doing Gearlock Brass Mags for so long, even though everybody was begging for them. We were like, it feels a little bit like a cash grab. So, anyway. Will the new kid-friendly games that were announced as part of the Black Friday sale be shown before the sale comes up in a couple weeks? Yes. Just in case you missed it in the intro, we will be showing them off on stream next week in a much more detailed way. We'll be showing some actual gameplay of all 4 of the kids' games that we have coming out. So, any plans to bring any of your games to Board Game Arena? No plans at the moment, but we are always exploring those digital options. 20 Strong Solar Sentinels is on Sovereignty, not Board Game Arena, but Sovereignty. Some of our games are too complicated for Board Game Arena, so they're not necessarily interested in them, but we will continue to look at those types of things moving forward. It's always a tricky thing, right, when you have a company that has a huge amount of their overall philosophy built on like the amazing tactile feel of componentry and that kind of thing. Releasing digital versions is always a little bit weird for us because it feels like it misses kind of a heavy emphasis of what we do in our actual physical products, but there continues to be demand for it, and I think it probably helps sales at the end of the day. So there you go. Do you have any new innovative concepts you're working on? What is CTG's long-term outlook? Any long-term plans you can share? I mean, we're working on Elder Scrolls right now. Like that is like the internal focus of basically everyone here at the company. There's obviously always cool stuff brewing in the background, as I've already alluded to. But the main focus right now is really just getting Elder Scrolls to the finish line because it is the biggest, by far, product we have ever made. It is an absolute mega behemoth of a product. And by the way, and we'll be covering this in the next update, it got a little bit larger because we're actually going to include the Thieves' Trove in the base game, most likely now at this point. So as we've been doing playtesting and that kind of thing. So the Thieves' Trove, if you're unaware, so the 100 card, it was a stretch goal pack actually, basically for the Elder Scrolls campaign. It's a pack of 100 unique items to go into the Elder Scrolls. And as we've been playtesting the game, this in an Elder Scrolls update. So, we are leaning heavily toward actually. Again, we haven't formally made this decision yet, but we're leaning heavily toward probably putting that right in the base game because we feel like the game is just a lot better with the Thieves' Trove integrated into the game. So, and it adds just a lot of variance and a lot of fun to the Elder Scrolls. So, anyway, that's the whole focus of the company right now is on bringing Elder Scrolls to the finish line, and then also just like continue to add and polish Roth and Tanglewood's 20 Strong. So there you go. Nothing beyond that we're ready to announce right now, though. Again, there's always stuff waiting in the wings. So, is it planned in the future to get crossover expansions for 20 Strongs like Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Witcher, etc.? Ever thought of a bag building game using the smaller chips, maybe similar to an LCG? We have a lot of plans for 20 Strong in the future, and I can't talk about anything other than Tanglewoods right now. But just know that the reception, again, has been amazing. Seems like people really, really love this system, and we would like to continue to make a whole lot of stuff for it, possibly including licensed stuff. We haven't signed any deals with anybody. Again, I'm not winking at you, but we do have a lot of plans. We also want to be careful to only put out really, really good inspired stuff. And I'm just and this is I don't want to like come across as like saying like, oh, they've been milking this too much, but like I look at the Unmatched series as an example. When that came out, I had so much enthusiasm and I was so excited for it. And then sets just kept coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out. And then there were licensed sets from Marvel, and I'm not a big Marvel guy myself. And I got kind of exhausted by it. And now, like, when I see new sets announced, I still want them, but I also feel like this level of like, I already have so much of that and I don't really want to buy more of it, but I feel compelled to collect it all. We want to make sure that everything that we release for 20 Strong is really, really compelling and like continues to really evolve the system in interesting ways and is worth fully releasing and doesn't just come across again as cash grab like types of stuff. So I don't think you're going to don't expect to start seeing like 20 strong decks releasing every single month or anything. But we do want to release a lot more content for that series. And really, I think when the Tanglewoods campaign launches, likely in the summer of 2024, you can expect us to be talking a lot more about what the entire vision for the future of 20 strong looks like, both for Tanglewoods and beyond. So, we've talked about things like LCGs, living chip games, etc., that kind of thing. I don't think we're probably going to do that anytime soon. You have to effectively treat those as like live service games, which means you have to constantly have content rolling out at all times, and we're not ready to commit, I don't think, an entire block of our dev team to like constantly releasing stuff at a regular cadence the way that you kind of have to do for a CCG or an LCG, that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. How long will the holiday sale run? It will run until December 31st, and we will turn off all the holiday sales on January 1st of 2024. Gilly, what is your favorite CTG game to play in your own time? I do not play any CTG games in my own time. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but it's the honest truth.
You're supposed to lie.
What was that? Oh, I'm supposed to lie. Yeah.
You love Trove.
Chip Theory games, with the except probably of 20 Strong, and I don't. So nobody at Chip Theory has our own copy of 20 Strong yet. By the way, backers are getting it before any of the people who have actually been worked on these games have received their copies. I would say 20 Strong stands to be the most likely one that I would bust out on my own time, strictly because I don't have a lot of time at home. Not to sound like a martyr or something, but we work a lot of late nights here. We like, those of us who are in leadership here, we work a lot of hours making the games that we send to you. And so when I get home, I mostly spend time with my family, and I play games with my kids, and I play much simpler games with my kids that can be played in half an hour to an hour. I've been playing a lot of My Little Scythe lately, actually, is what I've spent most of my time. Lots of pie fights as of late. My favorite CTG game that exists is Undertow, strictly because of the way that game was developed, and that was kind of my welcome to Chip Theory moment in terms of working on a lot of content and doing a lot of writing and that kind of thing. I think 20 Strong will likely be my favorite game to play on my own time because it doesn't take that much of my own time. When I do play board games with friends, I like playing non-Chip Theory games because I spend a lot of time working on and marketing Chip Theory stuff, and I like broadening my horizons. There you go. Okay. Crowdfunding comments seem to lack basic empathy. Is this indicative of the decline of modern civilization? Oh, okay. So this is on me to a large extent. I've been terrible at keeping up with the comments, and I've admitted that in previous streams and previous things. We have taken, or we are in the process of taking, a major step to have somebody other than me kind of be handling a lot of the comments. And I actually think a lot of the decline in whatever you want to say, empathy or whatever in the comments has largely been because we haven't been in the comments nearly as much. And so I want to own that because that's on us. That's just frankly on us. And as I have stated multiple times, after 7 years of being on 24/7 for Chip Theory, after the Elder Scrolls, I did struggle with some burnout, and I just needed to take a break. And that did allow, I think, especially the 20 Strong comments to kind of devolve into some little bit of chaos. But I think we're through this bottleneck, this quagmire, and we are working, and we'll have probably some announcements soon in terms of having some other folks helping with more proactive comment answering, that kind of thing, so that it's not all on me anymore. And I am very much looking forward to that. So thank you, by the way, to everyone who has been kind and understanding in all of the comment sections. Thank you to everybody who has helped answer questions on behalf of us when you guys know the answers, etc. That stuff means the world to us. And this last year's been challenging. But again, I think most of that has been our fault and not the fault of backers. And it's fair for backers to expect communication. So I want to apologize to everyone for my lack of involvement in a lot of the comments over the course of the last several months. Just been burned out. It's been a lot this last couple of years. So yeah. What is the machine you use to turn your boxes into packing material? It's a cardboard shredder of some kind. I don't even know. We have it off-site right now, and so I've never actually seen it. But it's a machine that basically takes boxes and turns it into fill that you can then reuse for packaging future games. Space or Dragons game? Choose. I choose.
Do it. Choose.
This is such a big decision. I choose space.
Correct. You won.
Yes. I won a copy of 20 Strong.
Why not both?
Yeah. I love both. Actually, I probably lean more heavily toward traditional fantasy than I do toward space sci-fi, but I like both. So, other than 20 Strong, what would be your choice for bringing one CTG Games characters into one of the other CTG games? For example, Kraken Lance as a Burn Cycle CEO. Oh man, I want to see the Eliminator enemy from Too Many Bones Unbreakable as a CEO. That's what I want to see. The weird enemy that's like all those like sewn together limbs. I want to see a Burn Cycle CEO. I would I should have screened this question ahead of time because I don't have a great answer for it.
What about the little kobold guy that's on the side of the undertow box? He could be like a hoplo guy.
Sure.
Like a Primus or a
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
I think some of my favorite art that we've done in the past well, ever in all of CTG history has been a lot of the scions for Hoplo Victorum. I could totally see those becoming, a Too Many Bones Tyrant or a Burn Cycle CEO, or even you do a whole faction of Cloudspire, a whole Cloudspire faction that's nothing but the scions from Hoplo. We're not doing that. To those of you who are already getting excited about that, we're not doing that, but that would probably be my choice. Yeah. When will you be releasing the highly anticipated CTG clothing and merch? I don't know. I know people continue to demand that, ask for that. Again, a couple tricky things. One, keeping things, you can go print on demand. Print on demand doesn't make us a whole lot of money at all. That's not a reason not to do it, but then also the quality tends to suffer. And when you have a brand, we've talked about this several times in the past, but when you have a brand that's built on like high quality componentry and that kind of thing, we don't want to release like crappy print on demand t-shirts that fade after 2 washings and like don't last. So, but it's also just really hard if we don't do print on demand and we do a higher quality print, then we have to keep all these different sizes in stock, which is also kind of a nightmare to manage. So, I have a feeling if we ever do CTG apparel and clothing, it may be something that maybe we limit to like our on-site retail shop that we're looking at opening here at HQ potentially in the next 6 months to a year. Simply because that would mean we could keep it kind of stocked in one very specific place. People could come in and try it on, etc. I'm not promising that. I'm just saying if we ever do something along those lines, it will probably be in a much more limited capacity, and we might make you come here to buy it. But I don't know. We'll see. Too Many Bones. Bones. Is it really over? P.S. The Cog Book is amazing. Again, from a standalone big box standpoint, yes, we are done with Too Many Bones. That doesn't mean there may not be small expansion content that we release that might still fit in the Trove chest. The Trove chest is packed. We feel amazing about the stable of content that's out there. Not everyone agrees with us, but we really don't think there's a weak link in the entire line. To be totally honest, we think it all ended up being awesome, inspired, and really, really high quality. And so, we're kind of ready to put it to bed in terms of this iteration. Now, there will be a Too Many Bones sequel at some point. So, like, don't despair. We're not done with Too Many Bones as a universe. We've had discussions about other Too Many Bones 20 Strong decks, even like maybe doing an Undertow deck or a Young Gearlocks deck or something along those lines. None of those things are in development right now. Again, so that's not an announcement. But no, we're not done with the world of Daylore. We're not done with Gearlocks. We're not done with TNB's goofy sense of humor, etc. Not by a long shot. There will be more Too Many Bones things, probably for the rest of CTG's existence because it's our most popular franchise. But again, Elder Scrolls is the evolution of the Too Many Bones system. And had we not done the Elder Scrolls license, that would have become Too Many Bones 2. I think Elder Scrolls is evolving the Too Many Bones system and systems and worlds and world in a really cool direction and in a lot of really, really interesting ways. It is not meant to replace Too Many Bones, though, either. So there will be, I promise there will be people who still prefer the sort of one-shot nature of Too Many Bones to the 3-session campaign of Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls character building is more straightforward. The skills in Elder Scrolls are more straightforward than we can't do Dart, for example, in the Elder Scrolls with a dual-sided mat and these crazy dice that are perfectly printed symmetrically on each side so that you can flip your mat. Even things as complicated as Stanza and Tink, we can't really do that in the Elder Scrolls simply because that's just not the way the game works. And we're also trying not to have you have to do a half an hour of research and homework on your character before you jump into the game. Everything's doled out to you in a much more step-by-step, easier to follow way in the Elder Scrolls in a way that has been very, very positively received from folks who are being taught the game. But again, it's not maybe quite as crunchy and complicated as learning a Gearlock is in Too Many Bones. So all that to say, we're not done with the world of Too Many Bones. There will be a sequel someday. It is not in development right now. But if you love Too Many Bones, you will love the Elder Scrolls. I can pretty much promise you that. And it's far from a reskin of Too Many Bones. There's a lot of really interesting things going on in the Elder Scrolls. So, is the Unbreakable Riddle so short? Only the Nexus box, and that's it. That is it. Sorry. I think after we did the puzzle deck for Automaton of Shale, I think everybody's like, oh, they're gonna like the Unbreakable Riddle is gonna be 52 puzzles as well. No. Automaton of Shale, that riddle took us forever and cost a tremendous amount of money to develop, both the online side of it and the physical side of it. So, so it's a little bit shorter. Enjoy. Any new Kickstarters on the horizon, especially around Too Many Bones, and reprints of the storage box in the future? Is there any chance the future the Trove chest will be made available again? Okay, so again, Black Friday. Trove chests will be available for pre-order on Black Friday for delivery next year. That will be the way it will probably always be forever. We'll take pre-orders during the holidays and they will release and be printed the subsequent year. Again, they're so expensive and they take up so much storage that we kind of need to print them once per year and not have them lingering sitting around. The update pack for the Trove chest, again, will be available on Black Friday. The next 2 Game Found campaigns, I've answered this a couple times, but are Roth and 20 Strong Tanglewoods. They are not Too Many Bones. We feel like there is so much Too Many Bones content that if you have truly played it all, hats off to you, because I haven't even played it all. I am starting, though, to see a few more posts on socials and that kind of thing of people starting to dig into Rage of Tyranny. And
Dilly, you said you don't play our games. Aren't you a bad judge?
Stop it. I would encourage you, if you are a Too Many Bones expert and you feel like you've exhausted every strategy and everything, try Rage of Tyranny, because there is a ton of cool content in that box, and it is kind of designed to be the Too Many Bones end game. And I would also say, though, this is also not an announcement, and it's also not in development. If there were any other small box expansions that we released for Too Many Bones, likely it would be a Rage of Tyranny box for Unbreakable and Splice and Dice Tyrants, even though those are all pretty challenging already. But yeah, so jump into that. But we know no plans to do any other crowdfunding campaigns around Too Many Bones right now until we do an inevitable Too Many Bones 2. But again, that is likely years away. That's not something that's imminent. We want to sell the heck out of the Too Many Bones that exists right now. And there's so much content in Too Many Bones already. So, yeah. If you had to remake Too Many Bones from the ground up, what would you change and what would you make sure stayed exactly the same? That's probably not a question that I am allowed to answer, since I worked on Too Many Bones after it came out, largely, for the most part. But I think, the things that we've talked about internally, we probably wouldn't have dangerous darts in the game if we could build it from the ground up again. The much maligned, much ballyhooed dangerous darts. I think, some things like lockpicking would probably look a little bit different. We've talked about those things in the past. When that game was coming out at $100, and I think the MSRP was going to be $120 when it was coming out originally, there weren't a lot of games. There were hardly any games that cost that much in the market, and we were very concerned that there wouldn't be enough to the game. And then we had advertised it as a 60 to 90 minute game, and we were finding that Too Many Bones generally takes 2 to 3 hours at least. You can solo a game of it pretty quick if you know the rules really, really well, but we were finding that on average it was lasting much longer. So Dangerous Darts was put into the game to try and shorten the game and get it more in line with what was promised to backers. And things like lockpicking and some of these other systems that seem kind of bolted onto things. We were trying to add complexity to make sure that when you opened it, it felt like a $100 or $120 game, et cetera, et cetera. In retrospect now, with the game being so well regarded, right, like those things probably weren't necessary, but those were things that we were concerned about upon initial release. If we could redo it from the ground up, we would have full color art because we have the money to do full color art now and the time to do full color art. We have a full graphic design department that I think would do a great job of beautifying the game well beyond the sort of amateur graphic design level that we were able to do for the game's initial release. Sorry, Josh Carlson. Again, it was released at a very different time for Chip Theory. It was 2.5 guys working, moonlighting as a full-time game company, not this like multi-million-dollar enterprise that Chip Theory is now, which is insane. So that would probably be the main thing. We would probably aim to try and make it a little bit easier to teach, streamline a few things, but I don't know. That's good. That's probably as much as I can say about that. But I was also not one of the lead designers on Too Many Bones, on the original Too Many Bones. So that's a much better question for the Joshes and Adam Carlsons of the world than it is for myself, even though I've worked on a tremendous amount of Too Many Bones content since then. When will Cloudspire be on the schedule? I don't know. You're going to keep asking me that. I don't know. But we continue to look at it, and again, it is everybody. I shouldn't say it's everybody. It's most people here's favorite franchise, though. It's most people here's favorite Chip Theory game as a total package, even though it is mostly a cult following. So nobody here wants to see it die and be forgotten. We continue to talk about how we can get some content into the pipeline, and there continues to be stuff that is, though not like being actively worked on daily. We continue to kick around lots of stuff, and we want to send it off with a bang. I have nothing formal to announce, as every single stream. So there you go. How is Josh's Cloudspire 20 Strong deck coming along? Will we see Cloudspire enter the 20 Strong arena? Maybe. There's still lots of stuff working in the background. Hope you'll have a 20 Strong Elder Scrolls theme. That's a possibility. We haven't talked to Bethesda about that at all. Again, we want to get Betrayal of the Second Era out before we worry about any other Elder Scrolls stuff, because that remains just an absolute beast. When will you start shipping 20 Strong to Spain? If you ordered the English version, it has already shipped to you. The other language editions are coming right behind. Like I said at the opening of the stream, German is being printed right now, and then French should be right behind that. So will there be more original content for 20 Strong, more like Solar Sentinels and that kind of thing? Potentially. Though I will say that like part of the idea of 20 Strong is our ability to maybe reuse art assets in a larger and more splashy way than we're able to on chips. And 20 Strong is meant to be a relatively low maintenance thing for us as a company when we roll out a new deck. Doing all original art like we did for Solar Sentinels was a beast, and so on and so forth. But Tanglewoods has all original art. That's all original art from Manny. We're not reusing any of that. So that is kind of the next original 20 Strong universe, will be all of the Tanglewoods stuff. So will there be any other theme decks during the Tanglewoods campaign? Possibly. We're talking about that right now. Again, it's going to largely, we're talking about possibly shifting it from a summer campaign to a fall campaign. And if we do that, odds are there will be some other stuff other than Tanglewoods in there. We're talking about that right now. It's also, though, like the entire campaign is going to be themed around Tanglewoods, so it will also be a little bit of a challenge to like try and shoehorn completely different IP into this campaign when it's all like Tremblified, when the whole campaign has been Manny Tremblified. So will the Tanglewoods decks be cross-compatible beyond Universal Heroes? We'll have more to announce about that in the future. We are looking at it. No final decisions have been made to that end. So we have working prototypes of Tanglewoods Red and Tanglewoods Gold. Tanglewoods White remains in flux a little bit. And so depending on what that ends up looking like, we'll look at how they're going to cross and integrate with each other. They will not all be the same thing, though. Like, they're going to have unique mechanics to each of those three decks at the same level, hopefully, that you're experiencing with Solar Sentinels, Too Many Bones, Hoplo. The goal is always to put a unique twist on every single deck. We don't want to release 3 of the same deck. And that is going to be, you'll see that in the Tanglewoods trilogy of decks. So how does Tanglewoods compare to the other 20 Strong expansions? It's different. Like short of like walking you through how it plays, which we're not quite ready to do yet. It's different. It's another very unique twist on the 20 Strong system, and but from a complexity and difficulty standpoint, it should be roughly right in line with what you're seeing on the other 3 decks. So, do you plan to introduce multiplayer modes to the game? Is there any thought as to how a co-op or PvP 20 Strong deck might look? Would it require 2 core boxes? I would say, and this isn't my final decision to make. My response to that would be no. Would be a hard no to co-op and PvP 20 Strong decks, but that's not necessarily the opinion of everybody in the company. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. In my opinion, if we want to do cooperative 20 Strong, we should release it as a separate box that is like cooperative out of the box, and with the decks designed to be cooperative out of the box. We could call it Stronger Together. I don't know. 40 Strong. I know. Yeah, boo. Yeah, that's fine. Boo me right off the stage. Point is, I think from a product clarity standpoint, it makes a lot more sense to keep 20 Strong as a solo-only system. I think cooperatifying it as a system likely would work better as a different sort of silo in the 20 Strong universe, potentially. So it could operate on a lot of the same principles, but again, be designed from the ground up to be played cooperatively. We're not working on that right now, but possibly in the future. If this ends up being a mega hit for us, certainly we'll want to lean into that and allow others to play it in a PvP or cooperative sense. So, any chance to add a dexterity challenge deck like Jenga? 20 Strong Jenga. That's what we're announcing today. That's the next license, the ever popular Jenga. No. That's the answer to that question. Are any 20 Strong decks slated to release before Tanglewoods? Not presently. What is the most CTG-ist add-on you would like to make available for 20 Strong? I would say probably alloy dice. And we haven't formally decided to do that yet. We're talking about it, but that would probably be as crazy as we'd get. The chip tracker is being very, very well received, and so we've also had some discussions about doing maybe a more deluxeified version of that chip tracker, but that would be significantly more affordable than the alloy dice would be. So the most fanciest, CTG-ist thing I think we would likely do for 20 Strong would be alloy dice for them. Let us know if you want those. And we will continue to talk about them. It would make it a less travel-friendly game because it would take the game from weighing about, a pound to 40 pounds. So there you go. How is the game perceived so far by lucky ones who have received it? I've said, multiple times, everybody seems to love 20 Strong when they play it. So I haven't seen like really a negative comment about the gameplay from anyone who has played it so far. Hearing that it's very challenging for a lot of people, so there may be people who get frustrated by that. But yeah, reception has been tremendously strong. Ha ha ha. Centaur was booing me behind the scenes on that one too. Okay. Is there any chance we'll see a Solar Sentinels project outside of the 20 Strong system? I'd love to see a full CTG glow up of Solar Sentinels. Nothing in the works right now, but it's certainly possible. Curious what you learned the most from the 20 Strong production. I would say one of the things that we've learned in the last year, and this is 20 Strong aside, is just that we've made an attempt to diversify our manufacturers in the last couple of years. That's partially because we don't want to get in our own way when we have multiple things that need to go to print at the same time. We don't want to find ourselves trying to prioritize which of our own things we want to print first. Part of that is just to protect us. During COVID, there were a lot of factory shutdowns, and so what we decided to do is like go with a few different manufacturers so that if Gameland is shut down with a COVID outbreak, E-Star is still trucking on something. Hope's Manufacturing is still hopefully trucking along on something. But what we've learned is that surprise, not every manufacturer works the same way, and not every manufacturer has the same timelines that we're used to from maybe Gameland working with Too Many Bones and that kind of thing. E-Star has a huge queue. They're making things for Awakened Realms. They're making things for Roxley. And so things take longer when we manufacture them with E-Star. Hopes has entirely different processes. Hopes is not really willing to print pieces of things early and then put it all together at the end. They want the entire project. They want every single file for every single thing for the game that we're making with them before they will begin even making molds for things. That's a different process. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not necessarily what we've been used to. So from 20 Strong to Hoplo to Too Many Bones to CTG Kids stuff, really what we've just learned is that like we need to know the full process with any manufacturer that we work with, and we need to adjust expectations and delivery timelines accordingly. And so that's been a thing. But 20 Strong, we said this is going to be a really, really simple game, right? It's just cards, it's just dice, it's just whatever. Then we added the magnetic chip tracker to it. Then we decided to do molded dice. Then we decided to deluxify the dice with the glitter with, again, feedback has been mixed on all of those on the dice for 20 Strong thus far. We wanted to do a felt inlay in the box top for 20 Strong so that it could work as a molding tray. We actually ended up trying more new things at the end of the day that we had not tried before in some capacity or another with 20 Strong than I think we've done on probably any recent game since like the stadium seating in Hoplo is probably the only other thing that we can even compare to this. So even though it's a very, very small and simple box, the amount of new things in here that we had to try or we had to like go back for revisions on ended up being more than any of our larger games have been recently. And not to mention that we had a new manufacturer with Hopes Games that we were working with on this project, which also just added new wrinkles and that kind of thing. It was also one of our first launches where we had language partners right out of the gate, with Lucky Duck doing the French and Frosted doing the German. And so that was also a learning experience for us that caught us a little bit off guard. We were kind of bad at that, to be totally frank, because it was a new learning experience for us. So 20 Strong has taught us a lot, and though, again, it seems like a really, really simple concept and simple idea, and it was very far along in development when we brought it to the campaign. Again, all 3 decks were fully playable. We showed them during the campaign. It had way more gotchas at the end of the day than a lot of things that we were used to, and that is part of what has taken it a little bit longer to get out than we would have hoped. All of that said, I think it has also ended up just an amazing little product at the end of the day, and I think all 3 decks are really, 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 really strong. It's been fun reading feedback on Discord because there doesn't seem to be a universal favorite. Everybody seems to like all 3 decks in sort of equal measure, and that's been really, really cool. So anyway, will there eventually be a larger 20 strong storage solution for those of us that have to have all the decks? I would say yes. Yes, there will be. How large that is and exactly what form that ends up taking, we'll see. But again, you can expect to see some of those types of things on the Tanglewoods campaign. While the goal of the initial campaign was to get this thing off the ground in the most streamlined, simple way possible, with it being a sort of bona fide success, we will be looking to do a lot more of those types of things on subsequent campaigns with storage solutions and that kind of thing, travel cases that maybe are a little more sturdy, et cetera, et cetera. How many decks would a storage solution hold? I don't know. I think, the potential for this series is for there to be decks coming out for years if it continues to be popular. So it might be the type of thing where we release like a 10 deck storage solution, and then you would just buy another one if you want to buy even more 20 strong decks. I don't think it would be intended to be a like forever storage solution that contains everything that ever comes out for 20 strong, the way the Trove chest, tries to hold everything that's ever come out for Too Many Bones. So when will the German version finish production, and will it be shipped out by Yoon? Yes, it will be shipped out by Yoon for backers. Again, we believe it will be done roughly in like the next week. So it should be very, very soon. Very, 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 very soon. Hoplomachus questions. Is there any more expansion content or new project in the works for Hoplomachus? I mean, we just ran a campaign like a month ago. So back that if you haven't. We are looking at the future of Hoplo in terms of like big box or like a new standalone game, that kind of thing. Nothing to announce in that realm right now, but there is something in the works. We'll talk more about that later. How long will the pledge manager for Pandora's Box be open? Likely until at least March. Because I don't think it will affect our print runs on anything, and it's just Hoplo stuff that's in that PM. So it'll be open for a while. But no decision has formally been made on when to close that. Granite Stadium seating upgrade when? Very soon. We'll obviously be doing full Granite Stadium seating. No, that would be amazing though. And I don't even want to know how much that would weigh. It'd be terrifying. Okay, and then just a couple questions on, oh man, I haven't even got to Elder Scrolls questions yet. Okay, we still got plenty. Keep your questions coming, by the way. This is great. Okay. Upcoming project questions. Hi, CTG. I'm excited to play your games with my son. They will be language independent. Question mark. If you are talking about our kids' games, again, they are English only right now, though I think they're all simple enough that you could certainly play them even if English is not your first language. I would just, again, mention that they are United States only. At least for now, we only have the license to sell these in the U.S., so apologies to those of you who are overseas and maybe were excited about these games. They are also all solo games. This initial launch is all solo games. So also apologies for anyone hoping to play them with their child, because you're probably going to teach your child how to play it, and then you're probably going to peace out and go play some 20 Strong on the side, right? Yeah. Okay. Will the next update with Roth come with the campaign, or should we expect more sneak peeks? You should expect more sneak peeks. Absolutely, because again, we can sit down and actually play full games of Roth already. It's very far along. Man, he's been doing a great job of that. I think probably into the new year is when we'll start focusing more on that. From here until the end of the year, the focus is likely going to be around anything and everything that is on sale for Black Friday and releasing 20 Strong with an official release, which will be at the end of December-ish. And yeah, anyway, there you go. Are you going to send translations to your foreign partners anytime soon? Our goal is to have a significant amount of stuff to translation partners by the end of the year. So yes, we are in the process of getting a lot of that stuff approved with Bethesda. So we mentioned in the last update, the game is content complete, meaning we're not developing new content for the game anymore. All of the content that exists, though, needs to go through heavy vetting in terms of playtesting, in terms of proofing, in terms of getting final graphic designs and that kind of thing on it, and then in terms of Bethesda approvals. So though we have designed all of the content for it, not all of it has been formally approved by Bethesda. We have no reason to believe any of it is in any danger of not being approved without maybe some very, very modest tweaks. But it is still going through the approvals process. So there you go. Once that is approved, then our goal is, yes, to go ahead and send it directly to translation partners to begin work on it. We are looking at beginning the full editing process of all the content here in the next couple weeks already. So things are going along really, really well. And there you go. In the Elder Scrolls crowdfunding project, you partner with Galapagos Hogos to allow Brazilian fans to pledge with easy shipping and tax management. Do you plan to keep that style partnership in future projects? Right now, we are actually talking about whether or not we are ever, this sounds scary. It's not scary, I promise. We're talking through whether we want to have language partners on campaigns moving forward at all, or if we are going to, in the future, potentially just allow language partners to run their own campaign. Running, especially with the shipping promotions and that kind of thing that we offer, and especially with the way that we tend to roll out games, which is in a earlier stage of development than a lot of folks are used to. Having language partners on board for the campaigns themselves has been challenging. Because sometimes we don't have the answers that folks are looking for. Sometimes we're asking partners to pay for shipping, which they don't really want to do. In a lot of these foreign countries, they need to charge shipping in order to make this make sense economically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So no promises about what future campaigns will look like from a language partner standpoint. We want to keep working with more and more language partners, keep making that an easy thing for anybody backing our game in just about any language. But there's a chance that we may shift that to just saying hey, language partners, you can run a campaign for our game and you can do it in your own language so that the campaign page itself is in your native language. And then also that allows them to run the campaign when they are comfortable with the amount of information they have for the game itself. So it was a big ask for a lot of these folks to commit to translating the Elder Scrolls when even during the campaign, we were only showing a limited amount of gameplay. A lot of language partners would be much more comfortable running a campaign now or being on board with a campaign for the Elder Scrolls in the game's current state because we can show it in a much more broad sense, in a much more detailed sense, as you've likely seen if you've tuned into any of our playtesting live streams. So, yeah. The future of that is under consideration right now, but the broad answer to that is we want to continue to make our games available in as many languages as possible, and we want to continue to make that as easy for folks in every country in the world to get access to our games whenever it's possible. So, how are you planning further expansions for Elder Scrolls? Even though the game isn't out yet, what are the future plans for expansions? What locations, lore, mythos of Elder Scrolls are you hoping to explore as well? Et cetera, et cetera. Do we have a price point? So right now, the plan for Elder Scrolls expansion content is largely to do it regionally. So regions have a new clash mat that has, that leans into the biome that particular region of Tamriel maybe has. Even though it doesn't, those clash mats don't necessarily offer any gameplay differences. It's just it makes you feel like you're in that region when you're traveling there. New region-specific enemies, new region-specific quests, side quests, new region-specific gazetteers and maps, And then what am I forgetting? There's that might be it. Skills. Yeah, new skill lines. We're trying to kind of, the races that are in the game, we've kind of like basically included every race that at least that Bethesda has explored from a playable nature. Those are all pretty much in the base game. And I cannot stress to you enough how much content, if you've backed the base game, especially plus Valenwood, there is so much content already that I don't think anyone's going to be itching for expansion content for a while. We're talking about when to run the reprint, the inevitable reprint and expansion campaign for this, and we don't even know exactly when we want to run it because we really want to give people time to dive in and digest a lot of the stuff that's in this base game. We said in the last update, I think, or 2 updates ago, the amount of content in the base game and Valenwood, again, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it essentially equates to like almost 70% of the amount of content that exists in the entirety of Too Many Bones, with all of the Too Many Bones expansion content. So there's a lot, and you're not going to need expansions for a while. But the plan right now is to release stuff regionally. We've talked about some other things in terms of like maybe additional item packs, a la the Trove or the Thieves Trove. We've talked about a mod pack that potentially could add some additional challenge modes or some other types of things to the game down the line. None of those things are in development right now. Again, right now the plan is to tackle more regions of Tamriel, and the price point on those will be the same as Valenwood, and I think Valenwood is $50 MSRP, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look at our campaign for what the MSRP on Valenwood is. But future regional expansions would follow that same pricing model more than likely. So, what are your favorite and or dumbest character builds so far? I haven't had a chance to play much Elder Scrolls, to be totally frank with you, so I don't have one. Just full disclosure. I was very involved in the early conceptual phases of Elder Scrolls and a lot of the sort of systems that were the framework for how the game was going to work. I have been largely uninvolved in the development of most of the content and the way that the game has evolved since then. And so, and I haven't had a chance to play test it in its current state as of late because we've just had too many other initiatives flying around the company. I have, as the company has grown, I have been less and less involved in developing games for us, and I have been more and more and more involved in the broader initiatives that the company is involved in. So that's just the nature of the beast. That doesn't mean I'm never going to work on games again. It just means it kind of ebbs and flows. So
I have a quick answer for dumbest build.
Oh, go for it.
Two-handed acrobat is very good because acrobatic dice care about how long they're in your cooldown. And the two-handed skill line makes you very tired, so it gives you lots of fatigue, so those acrobatic dice stay in your cooldown. So the more tired you get, the faster you get, which is very funny to me. Also, real quick, as just a question that came up, can you get infected with vampirism? Lycanthropy in Elder Scrolls, not currently, but likely in a future thing.
Yeah, we've talked about the werewolf vampire side of Elder Scrolls because we know that's something that a lot of folks really like to engage with and play. That is also potentially on the table for future expansion, either as a separate box or included in a regional expansion. So yeah, we are looking at that. We're not actively working on it right now, but it is something that could potentially come out in the future and that we would be excited to make. So yeah. Why is Betrayal of the Second Era better than Too Many Bones? It is not. It is way worse than Too Many Bones. All right, thanks for joining us this week. No, I'm just kidding. So this has been a question, like the whole question of like, does this game replace Too Many Bones and is it better than Too Many Bones and whatever? I don't think the Elder Scrolls replaces Too Many Bones. I don't think people who own all of Too Many Bones are going to get Elder Scrolls and be like, I'm done. I don't need my Too Many Bones anymore. They are very different games, and I think anyone who's probably watched any of our live streams has hopefully seen that. The things I think Elder Scrolls does better than Too Many Bones, though I don't think it's a better game per se inherently. The things it does better largely come down to, I think, the teachability of the game and the flexibility that you can build your character with is really the two main things. So we continue to hear, again, though there's actually more interlocking systems and more mechanics in our Elder Scrolls game than exist in Too Many Bones from a base rule set. It is just way easier to teach because of the step-by-step nature in which the game kind of unfolds in front of you. You can kind of take your skills one skill line at a time as you unlock them, rather, again, than needing to like try to grok how does Dart work? How does Stanza work? How does even Gilly, a simpler character like Gilly, work? You need to understand that before you can even begin to play Too Many Bones. In Elder Scrolls, you get handed one skill sheet. It's very straightforward. You only need to handle one die at a time. Your class is super easy to understand. It's right there in front of you. It's not on the back of a reference sheet. It just sits there right next to your character mat. You handle the town phase, and you just handle the town phase as it, happens in front of you. You can kind of handle battles one at a time. You can handle delves as they roll out. Everyone we've taught the game to at conventions has been super excited that it just seems like a much more easy game to get to the table with a group than Too Many Bones is. I think it does that much better than Too Many Bones. And it benefits from our years of experience designing UX and rule sets. And, it's more streamlined in that sense, even though it's still a very deep and complex game at its heart. It's really pretty easy to teach. I think it's of the big box chip theory titles, I think it may even be the easiest of our games to teach. Do you want to hear from a step-by-step standpoint?
Do you want to hear like a really niche analogy for
yes?
I would call Too Many Bones like our Tekken or Street Fighter to what I would say Elder Scrolls is like a Super Smash Bros, where it's a quick pickup, you can learn it real fast, and it's more fun.
I like that. It's more fun. Santoro's going out there saying it's more fun than Too Many Bones.
And then a quick answer to another question that popped up. With new region expansions for Elder Scrolls, how will they be integrated into the current quest system flow since they're sort of hard-coded within the game now? Quests are handled region by region. Each guild has a quest within a region, so the game rules are not affected by new regions coming in.
Yep.
Those will live within the gazetteer for that region. So
yep.
That is how it goes.
Yep, and that is by design. Yep. Yeah. So that's the answer. I think something that I think some folks might bounce off of on Elder Scrolls, and they might like Bones better. Again, we can get crunchier with the gear locks, and we can get with a lot of these with sort of build your own character. You have less flexibility in Bones to build a unique character, but the really hard-coded things in that character can be a little bit more elaborate. And then also, one of the things, some of the feedback on Hoplo Victorum has simply been folks wishing there was maybe a one-shot mode that they could play the game. Too Many Bones is a one-shot, right? Like it's a single-session game for the most part, unless you're engaging with a campaign mode. There may be some folks who really prefer that over the 3-session nature of Elder Scrolls at the end of the day. So, excuse me. So yeah, I don't know. Those are some answers to that question. Will the different first stocks be included in the future Elsewhere expansion? And if yes, will there be any playable ones? We're much more likely to have first stocks that are featured in ESO.
Yeah, so first stocks are like different types of kitty cats.
Yes.
Like different Khajiits.
Yeah. So yeah, we may. The Elsewhere expansion is not under active development yet, so I can't really answer that. But we know people love their large cats. They're cat people. we were actually originally going to be saving the Khajiit for the Elsewhere expansion. We were going to have the races be like in the different region expansions as well. And actually Bethesda was like, no, you have to put them all in the base game because people will freak out if they can't play a Khajiit right out of the gate. So there you go. So we have been told by Bethesda that we need to include all the first docs whenever possible. So will you be adding new healer and mage skill lines in the first expansion? I think there's already a restoration skill line and a destruction magic skill line in the base game. So will there be more of them? I do not know.
So if the question is regarding the first expansion, the Valenwood, there is illusion being added, as well as light armor are 2 magic skill lines. And then if you're talking about future expansions, we don't have anything definite.
Yeah. Okay. I'm very curious how far the Elder Scrolls customization will go inside the character classes. Same. That's not a question. It's very, very, very customizable, and people are having a lot of fun with that. And the more expansions we add, the more customizable it even becomes. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. What kind of Domino's pizza would you like delivered to your office? If somebody is standing by ready to order a Domino's pizza, I like pan pizza with extra green peppers and pepperoni. That's my choice.
No, sausage and mushroom.
No, nobody even likes mushrooms. That we know. That we know from extensive polling. Everyone hates mushrooms on pizza, right, Santoro?
I think they're fine sometimes.
Oh my gosh, this is the worst. This is the worst.
Sausage is so questionable though, based on the place. If they put the fennel seeds in it, get out of town.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay. We're down on sausage in this room, except for pepperoni and green pepper on pan pizza. That's my favorite. That's my go-to. That's what I order at home. If somebody's actually going to send Domino's to our office right now, that would be crazy.
Yeah, make sure to get us a pineapple jalapeno pizza.
Oh yeah, pineapple bacon and jalapeno. That's a winner. That is a winner. Even though.
What is wrong with the two of you?
What do you mean? What's wrong with us? It's
mushrooms and pineapple.
Is
a curse combo.
Myself, and Andrew Chesney, we have ordered. We often order that bacon. Not Canadian bacon, like actual like breakfast bacon, pineapple, and jalapenos. I'm telling you, it's money. All right, and then I think this is our last question that we've got. But assuming there's any more content planned for Burn Cycle, will we see something akin to a Trove chest for Burn Cycle? I doubt it. Burn Cycle has not sold at the level of Too Many Bones that we would spend the time engineering a specific box for. I don't think. Again, Trove chests are just they're beasts, and so there needs to be like a certain like level of success that a series hits before we're willing to invest in that kind of thing, because it just takes, you wouldn't believe the amount of work that went into that thing. So probably not, but again, we never say never about anything around here, really, other than probably never again on the logbooks and cog books, because that was a nightmare, like I said. So I think that's all the questions. Do we have any other questions coming in the chat as last second things? I'm scrolling all the way to the top of the document, FYI.
Nothing else has been added.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. That was a lot of really good questions, way more than we usually get in a Q&A. But again, just recapping some of the basic stuff. There should be a 20 strong update, assuming I'm able to get to it this afternoon. I'd love to get an update out. Just letting you know again, all English copies have shipped. You may not have tracking yet, and you may literally not get your tracking before your package even arrives, because that's how fast they're coming from Yoon. But we do have the big document that we need to separate out some information and then get an email out to folks with their tracking information. But worldwide, English 20 strong has shipped to everybody, I would say probably give it about a week, and it should arrive, I think, pretty much everywhere with the way that Yoon handles things. So that is coming. Let your dice air out if the smell is too strong. And then we've just got a whole bunch of stuff coming on Black Friday. I hope you guys are excited about Too Many Bones Brass Mags, about kids games, that kind of thing. And next week, Thursday, on our stream, you can expect to see some actual kids gameplay that we will be showing off. And I don't know, maybe we'll do another Q&A like this as an opener. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, kids games at noon next Thursday. Tune in for that. And then the following week we'll be doing something for Thanksgiving. Get excited for that.
Yep.
We have a giveaway though.
We have a giveaway.
Yes. So Gilly.
Yes.
I have a random number generator pulled up.
Okay.
Give me a number.
Okay.
And I will hit the random number generator button that many times. And it will generate our winner.
Okay. Let's go with 5.
A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. The winner is number 55, so nobody knows what that means. Let me check, and I will see if I can announce it here.
Lucky number 55. You have won. You don't know that you're 55 right now. We're gonna see if we can put a name to this number here in a second. We're going to give away some kids games next week, also on stream. Again, you have to be U.S. resident only. Sorry. And again, I think our Thanksgiving stream will aim to give away something or some things as well. So
correct.
Do we have a name?
We do. I'm not going to dox them, but LUK is LUK 88.
LUK
is part
88
of their email, so you know who you are.
We will be posting your address online shortly.
Please, send us your address so I can post it on the internet. I'll be following up with an email to you to see the best way to get a copy of 20 Strong Solar Sentinels into your paws.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I will also just say, so if you have pre-ordered 20 Strong, it does look like we are going to be getting our large ocean freighted shipments of 20 Strong toward the end of December. So we still are hoping that we're going to be able to get it fulfilled before the end of the year. If it does not end up fulfilling by the end of the year, it will be coming very, very soon or early in January of 2024. So, but pre-orders are available for 20 Strong right now if you have missed it. But also just remember that with the Black Friday stuff coming out, right now you can't get these Tanglewoods promo cards on the website. You will be able to get the Tanglewoods promo cards during the holiday season if you chill and hold on that. So some cool Universal Heroes to be used across your 20 Strong adventures. I don't think I have anything else. Do you have anything else, Santoro? Off screen, voice of God?
The voice of God is here. Telling you next Thursday at noon, child games for your children.
Games for children and next Thursday at noon.
And then the next week, feel free to, shoot a message into here or leave a comment if a particular day of Thanksgiving week works best for you so that I can figure out when to do our special stream there.
Yes.
And then head over to the Black Friday sales. When they launch, Riffle will be in them for only 48 hours.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So we will have Riffle available for 48 hours, the first 2 days of our Black Friday promotion. Riffle will be available regardless of the status of the counter. Again, all the promos, Trove Chest pre-orders, kids games, the Trove Chest update pack, Aprilis and the Fool, Trollin' for Fools, Gearlock Brass Mags. It's going to be our biggest Black Friday ever. Also, lots of bundles. Well, not lots of bundles. A few different bundles. There'll be a Burn Cycle gameplay bundle. There will be I think there's a Gearlock bundle with like almost the entire line of Gearlocks from Too Many Bones. There's stuff. There's other stuff too. So it should be a very, very exciting holiday season, and hope that any of you who are waiting to make some purchases until then are pleased with the offerings on hand. That's it. So I'm going to say sayonara Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your questions. And we will see you next Thursday at noon for some kids game content. Enjoy.